Hello everybody and welcome to my review of the Oculus Rift DK2 with Elite Dangerous. So my previous review was just of the Oculus Rift, what I was thinking of it, and this review is more of Oculus Rift plus Elite Dangerous. So first of all, Elite Dangerous, what is it? It is a space trading game. It's a crowd-funded game. It's massive in the Milky Way galaxy. You've got 400 billion star systems to travel between. Physics, space, and relatively scientifically accurate. All that is pretty nice. And the game is pretty much made for the Oculus Rift, or at least made with the Rift in mind. So you can play this game on a monitor. I have played it on my monitor a few times, especially in Gamma 1.04. There was a brief time when the Oculus Rift was having some problems, but I greatly prefer to play it on the Oculus Rift. So one of the things that's great about the Rift is you can kind of see here is normally in the game to view this screen, for example, you would press 1. But with the Rift, you just look over there and the screen will appear. And that's really cool. And the other thing that makes it cool is like for targeting. So most of what I do is bounty hunting, and one of my quick complaints is to bounty hunt, what you have to do is you have to scan the ship and see if the ship is wanted. If you're a bounty hunter, you can either wait till you get interdicted, which is when someone pulls you out of Super Cruise, or you can interdict someone who is wanted and pull them out of Super Cruise. And what I've found is that you can scan someone in Super Cruise, find out they're wanted, you interdict them, and then you have to scan them again, the exact same scan, to find out that they're wanted. That's really stupid. I wish that was not the case. So you interdict them, you know they're wanted, but if you don't scan them again and open fire, you will get a bounty on your head. So that's no good. So anyways, here I was trying to interdict somebody, and I found myself being interdicted, so that was fun. That happens quite often, actually, because you kind of have to line up and hold steady while you're trying to catch someone else, and then someone else comes up behind you and interdicts you instead. So this guy's a little simple eagle, and one of the nice things, too, just like with targeting in general, is in this game, in order to target somebody, if you're playing on the monitor, is you basically have to point your ship's nose at what you're going to try to target. Whereas with the Oculus Rift, you just look at the target. And then when you're dogfighting, if the target, say, is above you, like that, you can't really see him until you point your ship at them, right? Because your vision is fixed forward. Whereas with the DK2, you can actually look around. And so for dogfighting, it makes all the difference. For anyone who's curious as well, if you're noticing that I'm using flight assist off at some points, I basically just use that to you turn off flight assist, and you can, if you turn off flight assist, you kind of push your throttle up a bit and you pull back on your stick. You can do a quick flip around and kind of catch people off guard sometimes. They don't realize you've turned around and you're now facing them. And especially this eagle, I caught him off guard because I was able to actually ram him to death there. So generally, if you drop another ship's shields and you still have shields, a ram is a really effective means of killing someone, especially if your ship is bigger than theirs. But you do have to be careful if you're fighting a ship that is bigger than you and you go to ram them, chances are you are going to die. So anyways, the only other main issue I would say with Oculus Rift plus Elite Dangerous is the graphics quality. So the graphics are a bit grainy. Now, what you're looking at here is actually the debugging window from Oculus Rift. So actually what I'm doing here is I'm playing on the Oculus Rift, and then there's a debug window that has popped up on one of my other monitors, and I'm recording from there. It is a bit grainy, and I would actually go so far as to say as the resolution that you're seeing on the video right now is the resolution in-game. It looks just about the same. So keep that in mind. Now, when I'm playing Elite Dangerous, I'm not really noticing that the resolution is poor. It's actually still extremely immersive, and I thought I would notice it. I kind of like higher resolution games, But if the game is immersive enough, the resolution truly does not matter, and the Oculus Rift really helps for immersion. The only time I ever noticed that, oh yeah, the graphics or the resolution is grainy is when I'm trying to read text. So you might have seen some people complaining about the text. Man, I'm just whooping on this Clipper. Normally, the Imperial Clipper is one of the hardest ships, in my opinion, to fight in the game. It is not one of the most expensive ships or anything like that, but it is just one of the most challenging ships to fight. But this guy, he appeared to have purely gimbaled or turreted weapons, and actually it was quite easy to fight him for that $19,000 bounty, or CR bounty. And so that brings me to another point, is I'm using fixed weaponry. Initially I used gimballed until I found myself fighting my very first player who was using fixed weaponry, and he was using chaff, and basically made me useless. So most players, I think, from what I've found as well, use either gimbaled or turreted weapons because killing NPCs with them are really easy. None of the NPCs throw chaff. But if you're fighting someone with gimballed or turreted weapons, which basically the turret can basically fire everywhere, gimbal is basic. If you're kind of sort of aiming in the right direction, it'll aim for you. But with fixed weapons, they don't do that. You have to aim perfectly, you know, yourself. And I thought that would be really hard, but after a while you do get kind of used to it. But if all you're fighting is NPCs, sometimes you may want to use gimbaled weapons. But gimbaled weapons in general are actually less powerful. For some reason, the class and the actual rating aside, fixed weapons do far more damage. So if you can get good at them, you definitely want to use them. So here I'm fighting this Anaconda, which is in theory the hardest or the biggest ship in the game. So they take a while to get knocked down, and they have tons of hard points. But again, just like I'm explaining now, if you have, say, chaff, basically my two hard points in the rear, they are chaff, so I cycle between the two of them because they kind of take a while to let you re-chaff. So I have two of them because they're your utility mounts, so I don't really need anything else. I just chaff there. And since I'm using multi-cannons here, I don't really have a problem with heat or anything like that. When I was using beam lasers, you would have to give a lot of your ship's power to weaponry, but you can see that actually you lose very little power to power your multi-cannons. So I actually end up leaving pretty balanced, or I almost put everything into engines with one bar in each of the sides. But anyway, I don't remember what I was saying to get me on that path, besides the fact that I'm using these weapons. In the shaft. But anyways, with the Anaconda, the weapons they have their weapons in the front, which obviously they can hit you with, but then they have a bunch of other hard points that are not on the front of their ship, and it makes it pretty hard if you are behind the Anaconda, under it, or just on top to the rear. It makes it pretty hard for them to hit you unless they're using gimbaled or turreted weapons. So if you have chaff, you basically make it useless. Now, the other thing you do have to watch out for is ramming. This Anaconda, you can even see that the NPCs try to ram you. And so you have to be very careful, because one ram would lose all of my shields, and he might lose like 20% or something, but he would definitely kill me. So, anyway, yeah, with the game of Elite Dangerous, there's actually a lot of complaints, and I'm not sure how you can complain too much, but I guess I can sympathize maybe. So with Elite Dangerous, a lot of people are saying that there's either too much to do or there's too little to do. And the game is basically a really open world kind of setup. You got 400 billion star systems that you can travel to. Chances are in this game's lifetime, people won't travel to all 400 billion star systems even. So what you can do in this game boils down to, you can explore, you can go mine for like raw materials and metals. You can dogfight people, so either you can be a pirate and steal people's cargo and stuff like that, or you can be a bounty hunter like I'm doing here and just find people that are wanted, or just basically allow yourself to be interdicted. So you can do that. You can run missions, and it is a space trading game, so you can also do trading for a lot of profit. It's probably the most profitable thing is trading, but it is quite boring if you ask me. So those are the main things that you can do. I might even be leaving something out. But if all you do is say you want to earn credits, it can indeed be quite boring, just running goods to and from places and avoiding interdictions so you don't lose your entire bank. But I think if you're confused about whether or not you might like the game, I kind of liken it to the open world of Grand Theft Auto. So if you're one of these people that after the campaign of Grand Theft Auto, you are bored and you go play another game, then Elite Dangerous may not be the game for you. There are seemingly unlimited missions, but they do get rather repetitive, so you would get bored, I think. But if you're one of these people that basically rushes through the campaign of Grand Theft Auto so you can just play the open world at the end for hours on end, then Elite Dangerous is definitely the game for you. We're having a stare down here, me and that Anaconda. If he had just turned on his boosters, he probably would have rammed me to death. Anyway, but that's a perfect example of how annoying it is that I have to I scan him to find out he's wanted, interdict him, and then I need to scan him again. Why? Why, Frontier? Please fix this. So that's quite annoying. The other thing that is very annoying that I will make a complaint about, as if Frontier is watching this video, but if I get interdicted, I think if you're interdicting someone, after you interdict them, you should have a very long frame shift drive cooldown period. So too often I get interdicted, and I found out actually that in your coding there, Frontier, that if you just whoop up on the enemy too fast, there's clearly something in the code that basically says if you hit the hell out of them right away to get out of there. And that's interesting code for sure, nice AI there. But now I've learned that actually you kind of have to, I don't know, hustle hustle the NPC and act like you're a buffoon for a while, and then you get to take them down. I think that's kind of silly. I think if you interdict someone, you should have a very long frame shift drive cooldown, at least 1 to 2 minutes. But maybe even more than that. But too often, I get interdicted, I scan them, I open fire, and then they charge their frame shift drive and they're out of there. And that's very annoying, because if they're not in a little ship, that's it. I lose them, and it's just a waste of my time. I just think if they're the ones doing the interdicting, there should be a serious cooldown period. So anyways, those are really my only serious complaints with Elite Dangerous. I would still continue playing this game, and I definitely recommend this game, especially with the Oculus Rift. But I do have the caveats that if you're not someone who can figure out something to do in an open world, like if you are someone who likes to play a campaign mode game and then you're done, this probably is not the game for you. But I would say the dogfighting is extremely fun, even though most of your dogfighting is going to be against NPCs. It is very, very fun. I wish they had combat zones back. They were there in beta, but they're gone in gamma. I really want them back, but that's okay. I guess we'll wait. I appreciate the fact that you can get up to a Viper like I have here with just really a few hours of work, and then you get a pretty basic Viper, and then you can upgrade the Viper over time and have a lot of fun in the game. Because as you can see, this Viper is worth about 140,000 to buy from the shop. This specific Viper that I'm flying is worth about 3 million credits after I've upgraded a bunch. But the ship I'm fighting right now is probably, I don't know how many hard points he might have, but this is a ship that's worth, like, I think it's 140 million credits. I mean, it's an expensive ship. And so the fact that you can get a pure combat ship for relatively cheap and pretty much do combat if you want, that's very nice. So I appreciate that. So you don't really have to grind that much in this game. But anyway, that's my review. I think if you're going to just trade or something, you don't really need the Oculus Rift, but the Oculus Rift is incredibly immersive for the game. The game is really well made and clearly made with the Oculus Rift in mind, so I do highly recommend it. So anyways, that's it. That's me rambling a bit for the Oculus Rift and the DK2. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the section below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.